Welcome back, guys. We are here at Lol Park for SANDBOX versus the Jin Air Greenwings. I am Valdez. With me is LS Lesnek. Glad to be here back casting on a fantastic Saturday. Kind of a slow matchup to start us off with, but we got Kingzone versus Dom1 coming up later. Should be a very nice day of League of Legends, LS.
We just got a preview of it.
Yeah, I know.
Shown, so that was, I'm looking forward to that matchup later. And SANDBOX and Jin Air, the only thing Jin Air has going for them is the Griffin curse right now.
Okay.
Griffin did lose.
That's true.
So Jin Air is invigorated right now.
We need to, restore balance to the universe of LCK. And, when Griffin loses, Jin Air should win. Although that didn't happen. They were 7-1 before that, and Jin Air still were missing that win. But after SANDBOX got, crumpled up like a tiny little ball of paper and thrown out the window by Dom1, maybe we could have Jin Air with some, revitalization coming in and maybe taking first play.
Well, we'll see what ends up happening here in tonight's games, because most people are going to consider SANDBOX the favorite. They were looking phenomenal in the first round of Summer Split, and take a look at the standings here. 7-2 is SANDBOX, +7. And so this is actually an important match for them, because Dom1 will play later tonight. They're definitely going to be looking for a 2-0 here. Jin Air, well...
yeah, there's a bunch of 9s down there. 9 losses, 9-loss streak, and then -16. That does mean they have won 2 games. So there is hope for them to make this into a best of 3 with 3 games. You never know. That could happen today. But as you did mention, for SANDBOX, it is incredibly important up at the top of the side, because all of the teams at the top of LCK right now, including some other teams like Gen G and SKT that are on the up and up, every single win is going to matter just to get you one step closer to the finals of the playoffs and one step closer to having a chance of making it to Worlds. So every day you got to show up, and they're not going to be taking the Greenwings lightly tonight.
And we're going to see what the lineups are actually going to be here in just a second. So we're going to go into that, and this isn't 7-14, which is going to be a very big patch, but it is 7-13.
Wow, you're...
oh God, I'm 9-14.
This isn't 2017 anymore, LS. I know we casted in spring together that year, but we've come a long way
Why
since.
did I say 7?
I don't know.
Oh, match 47, I think.
Oh,
right? So
okay.
I think I read the 7 there.
There you go.
That's what happened. But points of the match: 2nd place team versus 10th place team. Will we be able to see an upset today? Smashed by the promotion friend. SANDBOX is no longer on a win streak, but today is the day to bounce back. And then Jin Air, another 10-loss round, and here we're taking a look at some of their stats.
Well, it's not possible to get 10 losses in a round, but they did get 9, so that does happen. Let's see which stats they find for Jin Air. You can see that win rate with first turret is 1-8, so they do have that going for them.
They
first
turret 45% of the time.
Yeah. So the times that they have won, again, this is game wins on the right side, it was when they had a gold lead at 15. So that's very important to keep in mind. We want to see them winning and gold at 15 to have them have a chance of winning this match.
And here we're taking a look at SANDBOX against Dom1, actually, who will be playing later on tonight. And just quick kill right there onto Showmaker. Summit doing things on Aatrox.
Yeah, I can't believe they actually found some highlights for SANDBOX in this match. As Papa Smithy likes to make fun of it, we only get to see 2 because outside of those 2 plays, they got destroyed.
All right, well, here's Root and Kellin And they've been really one of the main shining points for Jin Air for quite a while now.
Yeah.
Surprisingly, they are one of the more proficient bot lanes in Korea.
Yeah, you know, they're definitely mechanically proficient, I would say. Some of the decisions they've made, obviously, you know, Jin Air is as a whole, they've been struggling, but there are times where they will just pick up a first blood and do pretty well.
And that's a Pop Blossom. And FLICKR, they're on the run in this clip. Keen looking to turn things around, but not quite able to. That's Death Sentence. That is, there was no getting away from that. Well,
we're getting a really zoomed in play here for Jin Air, as they wanted to give them some credit for actually having a couple of good early games up against FLICKR, which again, you know, Jin Air does feel like they're getting closer and closer to actually having an upset win, whereas SANDBOX just clobbered again. So maybe today's the day.
And take a look at this. The vision score for Kellin, he's actually doing really, really well as the 15-minute damage average. He's such a good player down there with Root. And the other thing is, when Jin Air is losing as much as they are, the fact that his vision score is as good as it is when you don't have as much resources and you don't have as much ability to just freely place down wards, it's really a testament to how effective he has been for Jin Air.
Yeah, I mean, you always have to look at players and their stats when they're on teams that are doing really poorly or really great and kind of take them with a grain of salt, or, you know, multiply them and enhance them when they're on a team like Jin Air. So Kellin obviously doing some work down there. And again, we saw the Volibear support. He's a guy that's been spamming it in solo queue. Maybe we'll get to see another little bit of that today. I wouldn't even be surprised if it gets banned out if SANDBOX aren't ready to go up against it, but we'll have to wait and see when it does get into big ban.
So they are coming on to the stage. No surprises out of SANDBOX starting lineup. Pretty standard. And I'm curious to see how TaNa's going to fare up in top lane here against Summit.
Yeah, that's a rough one for sure. Summit definitely one of our premier top laners right now. It feels like this split specifically has become a split of top laners doing incredibly well and picking up a lot of MVPs outside of guys like Dread, who are also doing very well up towards the top. But you guys take a look here. CheonGo's going to be joining us once again into the mid lane for the side of Jin Air. So looking to give him a shot after Grace wasn't able to cut it the last time around.
Jin Air, they don't look like they're in the best of moods. Well, CheonGo does.
Yeah. He's happy, you know, he gets to play.
Yeah, he's feeling it right now as he's coming on stage. Jin Air, they're really going to need a second wind here in round number 2. If they can go on a miracle winning streak.
9-9.
They can bring it back.
You know, that's, you know, they have a chance to make playoffs still, guys. They got to go 9-9. And they have to win all of it 2-0, most likely, to make it in. And a lot of the other teams at the top would have to do poorly. So don't give up hope, Jin Air fans. There is still a chance statistically. But we are looking at the lineup that is definitely favored coming into this one.
Well, if you are a Jin Air fan and the light is looking dim, don't get too worried. That's when the show starts.
Yeah.
Valdez. Okay?
Oh, boy.
We'll
Who knows? Who knows?
They can do anything super exciting here. Now, coming into round number 2, 9.13 is still going to be a relatively stable meta, whereas 9.14, I don't know if it's the biggest patch of Season 9 or the biggest patch League has had.
Really?
Yeah.
Overall.
That'll definitely be a very big shakeup because Korea is so reluctant normally to adapt their meta and adapt their picks and whatnot. So really looking forward to how that will potentially impact LCK once it does end up dropping. And lots of SANDBOX fans.
Yeah, they got the signs out here. You know, they're...
That's Bambi.
Yeah, that actually is Bambi Sun Tzu.
Bambi
Bambi player.
welcome
There
Bambi
must be...
Sun Tzu. There's no Bambi on.
Maybe it's a nickname for one of the players. Not 100% sure. As you did highlight here, going into Big Ban, we are on 9-13. As you can see up at the top. And Karthus going to be banned out. It went from not being played to first ban.
Yeah, just 6 months late.
Yeah, they finally got it.
No
they
big
finally
deal.
got it, Alex.
6 months late.
Yeah.
Well, Karthus being banned away against Jin Air, I think is really surprising. Jin Air did have one game with it where it was quite heroic, where they got a very large advantage in the bottom lane with it, then proceeded to not do anything. But the way that Jin Air tends to play, Karthus isn't really a champion that you should be that afraid of. And so it's a little bit surprising to see it banned away. But Karma and Azir now, they bite the dust. Lux also biting the dust. And Yuumi. So trying to restrict options against that Jin Air bottom lane.
Yeah, you know, ban out Kellin. We were talking about it before, how he is quite the support. Just going to go ahead and take away two of the more meta picks nowadays with the Lux and the Yuumi.
And we'll see what the final ban is going to be for Jin Air. There's so many picks available. Yeah, it's going to end up being the Jace. Sejuani being hovered. It is locked in. She's got an okay win rate. 74.2%. It's okay. It's all right.
Yeah, and she doesn't even need the synergy. This is mostly played without Polar Bear, so you don't need the Glacials.
Yeah.
Very popular first pick. Was banned for a while, but started slipping through.
Neeko now going to be locked in. That is able to be multi-flexed. So we'll see where they end up allocating the Neeko and what they're going to accompany this with.
The Jungle Silence is available. We saw that as an answer to the Jungle Sejuani. See if Malrang's been practicing that.
And Tahm is being hovered, and it's going to be locked in. This is a little bit surprising to see it so willingly picked face up. It really gives SANDBOX the ability to just abuse him. And now Irelia is being hovered. Extremely good against Neeko. So this could end up making it so that the Neeko could be mirrored by the Irelia, both top and mid lane.
It's also very good with the Sejuani. We talked about that before, as finally we got our Glacials coming in. Braum is going to be the pick here early. They want to secure that.
Braum's a little bit surprising. SANDBOX just handshaking on the bottom lane, not really trying to go for any sort of an edge, which this is one of the things about the Korean meta that I've alluded to earlier on. And now Renekton gonna be picked up. This could be suggesting that an Elise could potentially be on the way. And the Renekton, in theory, can also be flexed with the Neeko. Maybe we end up seeing a flex war in the later stages of this draft.
It can get pretty dicey and fun. Hope we do get to see it.
I guess they'll end up banning away Lucian as well and just trying to restrict power down in the bottom lane. Maybe they're just trying to neutralize Ghost and Joker, but that would be really surprising if they just go for something like an Ashe or an Ezreal to accompany the Tahm Kench. Trundle being banned away. So now they're just trying to pinch away the jungle pool, make sure that Sejuani can't really be hurt all that much. There is 3 melee champions right now on the side of SANDBOX, and Rost is really good against Sejuani. Just throwing that out there.
Yeah.
Probably not going to see it, but for the viewers, you're wondering, well, what would be an excellent jungle pick in this spot? Rost could definitely cause some problems.
Don't know if Malrang's been practicing that pick too much, but Kane jungle, we have seen it before.
And it's going to be 5 seconds. What will it be? And it's going to be the Sylas jungle, which ends up being targeted. So you have options here to go for the Elise if you're trying to go for lane kingdoms across the board. Alternatively, you can just pick up the AD carry right here. You can pick up Ezreal, Ashe, or Lucian. all of which are okay at this point. Ezreal will probably be a little bit better than the others. He is going to lock that in there. Now it's handed over to SANDBOX. You know that you're fighting a very wonky team composition that has 2 modes to it. And so you're going to want an AD carry that is able to also equally have 2 different kinds of modes. Sivir being hovered right now. And if you end up taking this, where is the Irelia going to end up? You want to try to get her against the Neeko. Oh, it's going to be Draven. So there's not going to be 2 modes here. There's going to be 1 mode. It's going to be forward. Or it's going to be mid.
Look at that win rate. Oh, baby. The
100%.
alpha pick in the bot lane, Draven.
That is pretty good.
Yeah. Ghost played it a bunch, I think in spring. Definitely knows how to pilot that Draven, and he's not scared to bring it out here against Jin Air.
Kennen being hovered right now, and I'd really... Oh, God. This is truly a welcome back.
Yeah?
This is, I've been gone.
Welcome back, Ellis.
No big
to the
deal.
LCK.
I'm here. All right,
LCK
so
Kennen.
the Kennen's really great because not only does he have a reliance on the teleport, but his acceleration is still slower than other champions that you could end up getting in top, because I'm assuming now that the Irelia is surely going to go into the middle lane. It's very surprising, and there's the Elise that I talked about.
Yeah.
So, in an interesting turn of events, we're going to have Fire go up against Fire here. And Jin Air, they need to get ahead, and now enters the potential flex war between mid and top lane, where they'll both look for edges. You ideally want to have the Kennen against the Renekton and get Irelia the matchup against the Neeko.
Yep, gotta wait until 20 seconds when they're locked in. Maybe they'll both swap at the last second. No? No swaps?
No swaps.
Okay.
So this will actually end up being top Kennen, teleport on Draven.
Yeah.
Coach is going to shake hands and head to the back. Now we'll talk about what both of these team compositions want to achieve inside of this game. As right here for SANDBOX, Draven, Braum, Irelia, Sejuani, and then right at the very top is the Kennen. So the interesting thing here is that there's different timing spikes due to the nature of their itemization. So Draven and Kennen will typically come online a little bit faster than Irelia and Sejuani, but this is a very fast acceleration team composition that doesn't allow much access to come back and has turret diving potential if it is really far ahead. And on the side of Jin Air, you have Neeko, Elise, Renekton in the mid lane, Ezreal, and then Sir Thomas Kench right at the very bottom. And this team composition, the Elise has so much pressure on her. She needs to get the Renekton primarily going, because that can be the one champion that can prove to be really difficult for SANDBOX to handle.
And who knows? Maybe he's actually going to get CheonGo ahead in one of these lanes. Let's hop into game 1 and find out. Jin Air fans coming out in throngs tonight, not holding back, still waiting for that first series win that we have not had just yet here for Jin Air. Just sitting on 0-9 after the first round. It's been a sad state of affairs. SANDBOX, they looked good to potentially sail into 8-1, 7-2, and they ended up taking that spanking of a loss up against Dom1, so we'll see how that wakes him up.
Something interesting.
Yeah, let me know.
All right. So, did you notice the stats on Draven when he was locked in? 100% win rate.
Yeah.
Okay. There was also a 0.9 and a 0.9.
Yeah.
Could this be Jin Air's 9-9 start, or will it be their 10th loss? I'll be here all night.
I feel like I'm in an anime right now.
I know. You can go Super Saiyan.
The storylines, they all seem to line up right now.
Yep. We're going to find out. This is it. All right, so TaNa, he's going top lane. This is a little bit interesting. Elise is going to start on the red side. And Neeko turning into Ezreal.
Yeah.
And
Draven took Kleptomancy, by the way. Don't see that every day.
he wants to just try to bully the Tahm Kench and get an acceleration that way. And that's what I was talking about, where the Kennen and the Draven come online faster than other teammates. And so there's a little bit of a mismatch in that regard, but it's definitely not going to be the end of the world. The Summit, he's playing mid lane, and this is fantastic because typically you only get to see this if the pro players are really, really good and proficient at playing multiple roles. And so this is quite nice. The Kennen is up against the Renekton, and he's up against the Renekton in a short lane, whereas Irelia is now getting to go up against the Neeko in the long lane.
Yeah, I mean, it's the perfect swap, right, for the side of SANDBOX. Instead of swapping the champs, they'll just go ahead and swap the players. So definitely good stuff, although Malrang is waiting in the wings. Here comes that stun. The flash already going to come out as CheonGo considering going for that follow-up with the Elise. Just a little bit too far away.
And it's really good timing because this is the timing where Summit needs to crash the wave. Malrang wasting a lot of time now, though. He does have 4 camps already complete, but he's going to have conceded left-hand side Scuttle Crab, and this can be really ugly. OnFleek is only level 3, but Dove finds himself with a cheater recall. Able to crash the wave with so many minions remaining, he's able to recall and circumvent having to teleport, and he comes back to a wave that's coming into him that gives him the ability to freeze whilst retaining teleport. Starting to finally see it in Season 9.
Yeah, and it's mostly top laners that we have been seeing it from. Maybe that's why they're picking up all the MVPs, LS.
There we go.
Rigging the votes because they started freezing the lanes. That's what's going on. I mean, top laners on the MVP line, it's Rascal, Summit, Nuggery as top 3. You got Dread tied for second there.
It's really bizarre. Malrang is completely misreading the Sejuani. We saw the question mark pings onto the Krug camp as well as above the inhibitor, assuming that Sejuani would have recalled, but Malrang got vision of OnFleek when he was killing the Scuttle Crab, so had he hit tab, he would have been able to count Sejuani's CS and then known that given that HP value and mana value, there's no realistic way that Sejuani should have to recall at that point in time. This is a beautiful counter match game.
Oh, Summit, he goes for the lightning rush, trying to bait them in. Can they get the kill on the CheonGo? They will get this flash. You can see how Summit was just lightning rushing forward because he had the Sejuani behind him, and they get a win out of it.
And so now, Kennen with the teleport, if he can actually get the recall, oh, Malrang might go for a flash cocoon. Nope. Summit's not going to take the bait. And CheonGo has just lost mid lane. So Kennen is now going to be light years ahead of the Renekton. Not only is he going to crash a wave into the turret and get some of the chip damage, you can see that TaNa is trying to remedy the situation, rotates down into mid whilst there's a freeze happening on top, and you can see the pings coming out of Dove. They know that the lane swap is going to start happening now, and let's see if they mirror the response or... Yeah, it does look like they are going to mirror it. But it doesn't matter. The damage is already done. Jin Air is quite far behind. Okay, they are really
Look at the shenanigans. They're on a ward, though. So SANDBOX sees everything, and they say, okay.
Do they know who's who? I mean, they should know who's who.
Yeah.
Well, if Neeko casts a spell, okay. This is, top lane is...
If TaNa made himself into Renekton, then WTF2 Renekton.
I believe this is the level 6 wave, too, for Dove, as soon as he eats that cannon.
Oh, no. I'd like for the observer to click on him, but look at the pings. They have vision of this the whole way through. It's good timing out of Malrang because the wave is pushing, but just great vision out of the side of SANDBOX.
Oh, okay. So he does end up getting level 6. And, you can just see the level of coin flipping being done right now by the Elise.
Yeah.
They know exactly what Malrang's doing. And this is what he's done the entire split, where he does these very gambler coin flippy type things. He plays pirates in Teamfight Tactics.
He's looking for the big rolls, you know, the four coins 3 times in a row.
He tries to get 3 level 3 units by level 5, yeah.
He's rolling the dice, man. He's
If Twisted Fate was a jungler, he'd play it. You know? You gotta roll that passive.
His favorite game of the casino is craps.
Oh, man.
And it's such a good read and vision by the side of SANDBOX. They're like, okay, if you're going to do that again, we know that you like to do it. We'll just put a ward here. We'll just get the Infernal Drake, by the way. No big deal.
And this is a little bit of an awkward spot right now where CheonGo actually has a really strong freeze. And CheonGo, what he's trying to do is feign that TaNa is nearby because they don't have absolute knowledge on her. Now they do know that Neeko has returned to mid, but Summit is losing quite a bit of CS. And he needs Sejuani covering top lane in order to perforate this freeze, get the crash into the turret, and the bounce back in top lane. So Sejuani should forego what she is doing. Her jungle camps rush up into top lane and allow Kennen to crash the wave. Unless CheonGo botched this. Well, I'm actually not sure what OnFleek's doing right now.
You could see the pings calling for the Sejuani to come mid, and I think that distracted him, and now he went top. But
I think he got the crash anyway, though. CheonGo allowed it to go away despite having the river ward. And now, meanwhile, down here in bottom lane, the Draven, he only finds himself with a slight CS advantage. They do both have Kleptomancy, though. OnFleek does not know that he was spotted earlier. They're not going to be able to kill CheonGo. Not sure what he's doing. Well, this is really good baiting, actually, though, by CheonGo.
Yeah.
By taking a trade in that manner, it would convince SANDBOX that there can't be a ward. And so trying to just delay and absorb so much time from OnFleek. Now the interesting thing here as well on the blue is if OnFleek doesn't get level 7 from the blue and doesn't have intentions to hand it off to Irelia, OnFleek didn't get 7. He should have just done the Gromp and Wolves to maximize buff duration, especially because Scuttle RNG'd left side.
well, not thinking that far ahead, perhaps, as he's going to use that blue to spam abilities in those camps. Nice little play down here. Root trying to push it in, you know, and Ghost does not have his teleport. Another interesting thing here for the bot lane is that both supports did end up taking that unsealed spellbook, which was popularized by Tucson. Love to take it every single game. And a lot of other supports have been following him.
Well, Sejuani picks up the Scuttle Crab. And Joker, you know, talking about unsealed spellbook, he has teleport available.
Oh boy, here we go. Trying to read this one, trying to get the stun first. There's the flash. They are not going to use that Sejuani ultimate. They did not want to dive the Renekton after the Dominus was cast, but they still get the flash away, and they'll take that as a win.
And CheonGo, remember, he doesn't have teleport available, so the fortunate thing for him is that it is a cannon wave, but now after having canceled that recall, he's going to be stuck in the lane against the Kennen. This is going to be much more beneficial to the Kennen with Kleptomancy. And you can see that Malrang, he's trying to respond to this by running top lane, and he is praying to the Rito gods right now that Summit overextends and they can find a kill.
Yeah, but Summit just going to take that pressure that is pushing in, and OnFleek is back, actually. We do not have the Slicing Maelstrom, but no flash here on the Renekton.
Now the wave's actually coming into Summit. So because CheonGo doesn't have teleport and the wave's coming in, you can basically laugh at him and say, hey, the wave's coming in, are you going to do something about it? And if CheonGo says no, well then you're just happy anyway because you'll kill him via the freeze through the XP advantage as well as the gold advantage. And if he does try to do something about it, you can say Chuck Testa, Sejuani is right here.
Yeah. But instead ended up pushing, and then the Sejuani was spotted on the Rift Herald. So maybe they wanted to put pressure on that objective instead. There is some vision now on the Rift Herald here by the side of Jin Air. So they should know that the Sejuani is going to start it up here in just a moment.
So Sejuani hits the Rift Herald, clears out the pink ward, and yeah, alright, not going to end up actually starting it. Running over to the Infernal Dragon. You can see if Kennen was just running there, he doesn't have to actually use his teleport. Dove has teleport. Everyone could just run there right now and then teleport after. The Infernal Dragon is worth so much gold in terms of stats. And Elise hasn't recalled yet, so still no Runic Echo. And what they're doing right now is they're really playing against the fact that CheonGo had to rotate into mid lane. They're attacking the teleport setup from Jin Air. Joker has his cleanse available again. They're going to get themselves the Skull Crash.
Yeah, SANDBOX coming on in here. OnFleek has an escape if he needs it for now. You mentioned the teleport. They had to send TaNa up to the top lane, which gets these favorable lanes back here for the side of SANDBOX. No flash on CheonGo, so he kind of just has to sit here and try not to die, which should open up some pressure here for SANDBOX to potentially take down this Infernal Drake. As Jonah Strong is getting a workout moving all these guys from mid and top. Poor Observer.
All right, they are now starting the Infernal Drake. And Elise, it looks like, going to get the blue buff and then maybe come over. Teleport available if they need it on TaNa, but this should just be handed over to SANDBOX.
Oh, trying to ult up Malrang here. Is he going to get in range? No. And the cocoon does go wide, but SANDBOX have a bunch of abilities to get over the wall. Only Ghost has to flash, and that is a big and nice trade here for SANDBOX.
And they managed to actually end up saving teleport. I can't quite see the top wave, but TaNa might just be returning to a freeze. Actually, it looks like it's 4 blue minions.
Yeah.
Can't quite tell what is going on there. And SANDBOX with 2 Infernal Dragons. They're gonna roll a third one. They have a Draven. So,
speaking about the gambling from before, SANDBOX is very happy with the way their dice rolls have been coming, and the RNG is certainly in their favor tonight.
This is like when you both go pirates and all that you do is you get boots and the dead fish skeleton, and then the other guy always gets 4s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're just stealing each other's stuff the whole game. It's
but the other guy's getting all of it.
You just have like a level 1 pike that's just
you have level 1s on everything.
Doing
has
nothing.
Level 3s.
Level 1 Graves is awkwardly in the back corner, like you don't even want him in the front.
You eventually go up against him. He's playing Pengu. Oh no, he's playing Silverwing.
Yeah.
And he runs up to you, and he just screeches.
Starts singing the song. I know that song. It's in my head. I'm not going to abuse the chat with that one. You guys can play TFT to hear it. But, yeah, I mean, SANDBOX, there hasn't been a lot of action in this game, but there has been a lot going on, which I think that myself and LS have been covering pretty much in detail. But pretty much all of these bits of back and forth action have been in favor of SANDBOX so far.
So the issue that Jin Air is going to have is that their champions are worth less than the SANDBOX champions, just in terms of base scaling. And so because of that, not only are they behind in base, they're also behind in XP, they're behind in items, they're behind in dragons. Everything is just going to feel like a nightmare. Even if Jin Air end up getting first turret down here in bottom somehow, it's not really going to amount to much. Malrang looks like he's tilted.
I mean, he is a player that likes to go all in the early phase, and if it doesn't go his way, it definitely falls off more often than not.
Plays competitive like it's solo queue. That would be, I think, the best way to put it.
I think that's pretty accurate. He definitely has the mechanics that you would see from somebody who's trying to carry in solo queue, but
which is so surprising why he goes for the gambles as often as he does. Protobelt having to be used defensively there. And it looks like SANDBOX is just going to be content to wait for the third Infernal to spawn and then end up picking themselves up a Mountain Drake after that.
And then type GG in all chat.
Alright. So, Iceborne Gauntlet is also going to be the item for Ezreal. Not going to be the best item against the Kennen and the Sedge in terms of resisting their damage, which is, interestingly enough, will be accelerated a little bit by the Infernals, given that there will be 3 of them. Sejuani normally doesn't really, you don't look at her as a champion that gets much bolstering. Okay, that was a stopwatch.
And Dove just laughs at him and says, okay, I guess I'm just going to kill you. First blood, as that goes down, and so does the mid turret. And once again, it feels like the towers are swiftly falling here for Jin Air.
Yeah, Draven is quite big down here in the bottom lane. He's going to be pressuring that turret. Root does not have teleport available, and you can see that Kellin doesn't seem to be on the same page either, because Root was wanting to recall, but then a ping came out, and you saw that Kennen was even recalling as well. That's going to be the turret. So this is the part of the game where things fall down.
Yeah, all the turrets.
We'll take another look at this solo kill. And it's just a really clean, that's a very nice stun. You can see that TaNa activates his hourglass before Dove was actually truly committed. Even though Dove misses the W right there, it doesn't quite matter. Dove dove him.
There you go.
Thank you.
We can actually call him Dove. As the Korean side, they call him Dobu, which is Dove.
Dove soap?
Maybe. I think so. Yes, okay, Ji-sun. Oh, no, she changed her mind.
We'll never know.
Okay.
It is now.
Dove soap, okay.
All right, here we go. This is what I like to see. This is what I call the Team Liquid. We're gonna group for the dragon that we can't actually win.
Oh, don't do him like that. It's just like game one here at Jin Air versus SANDBOX. You gotta drop one on TL.
Here we go.
Okay, bit of poke is coming out, but it is going to be blocked here. Nice job by Joker.
I like what SANDBOX is doing. They're making Jin Air really think that they have a chance in this fight.
Look at Summit. He's like, okay, here comes the real AoE as a nice devour out of Kellin is going to save one of them, but that's 3 Infernos, and Summit is in your back line as TaNa is going to be the first one to go down here. Lots of low members on the side of Jin Air, just trying to get the safety. And a bunch of poke, but here comes Summit trying to poke him down. All the flashes from both sides. As CheonGo trying to step forward and escort his teammate to safety, but that's going to be 2 sacrifices. And only the President gets out alive on the backside as SANDBOX, they get the Infernal, and they get a bunch of kills as well. This game is...
I'll be here all night.
They get the roll. Oh boy, yeah, SANDBOX having a good game here, guys.
Yeah, SANDBOX can't lose the game. We're just gonna call it right here. So this is the really surprising thing. So Jin Air, they want to fight a situation that they can't ever win. They actually get a pretty good amount of damage down onto SANDBOX. The SANDBOX mess up a little bit, but it just doesn't matter. You can see how far ahead they are. And then it was a full-on retreat. Summit coming in for the flank on the Blood Moon Kennen from the north. CheonGo tries to heal up as much as he possibly can. Nice stun, landed on to Kellin. And then right there, it looked like they were going to be able to get on OnFleek, but not quite.
오케이.
Ghost got, I think,
로또 터졌다.
765.
돈 1,000원 벌었어. 1,000원.
갈게
뺏으러.
이거.
I got 1,000.
Oh, you got 1,000, okay.
Only 1,000?
He hit the lotto.
Not impressed.
That's what he was saying. As, yeah, he's up to over 9,000 already. That Draven's smiling down there in the bottom left, as is probably Ghost.
Well,
we're getting close to a perfect game here. No turrets, no Drakes, and no kills right now to the side of Jin Air.
I think realistically, if they just put a Dragon's Tooth on Draven right now, there's no way that Malrang or TaNa can kill him.
Yeah.
And that would be the only out. So.
Yeah, but, you know, rolling double Negatron Cloak.
Yeah.
Tell me about it. It's pretty hard.
It is. It's quite bad. Well, we'll see what Jin Air tries to do here, as the Mountain Dragon should be able to convert immediately into a Baron capture. And Jin Air are going to be hard-pressed to come up with any sort of an answer. And their team composition, it just doesn't have it. This is one of the problems when you draft comps like this. You have to get ahead. You create this pressure on yourself that requires opponents to make mistakes or for you to noticeably outplay your opponents. And there's no insurance policy in the comp. The only insurance policy that you might be able to argue could have been the Ezreal, but not with how the game turned out.
Yeah, I mean, SANDBOX right from the get-go seemed to have their wits about them a little bit more than Jin Air. You know, they had the swap going right at the beginning. They wanted to get the favorable lanes with the Kennen into the Renekton rather than vice versa. And Afterwards, you know, just the war is just to spot Malrang for every single gank that he went for. The Kennen was really safe in the mid lane too because of the short lane. He could just lightning rush away from the Elise. And after Malrang wasn't able to get anything done in the early game and they were able to pick up that first Infernal Drake, that's when it really felt like the game was easily going in SANDBOX's favor.
Let me break something down for you, Valdez.
All right.
Take a look at Kennen's item.
Yeah,
That is a Morellinomicon.
I've heard about that item
let me
most often on your Twitter, actually.
tell you this really weird thing. When you already have a stopwatch, you could, all right, hear me out here, purchase a Fiendish Codex and a Seeker's Arm Guard in order to obtain the Zanya's Hourglass, all right? That'll allow you to reutilize the stopwatch.
Okay. Yeah.
Instead, we allocated 1,400 gold to get a little bit more AP and 100 HP to reduce the non-existent healing on the side of Jin Air.
Yeah, sounds good to me.
All right.
Hey, Renekton heals.
Yeah, that's important.
And Ezreal
I've never been
has
so
the Cutlass.
blown away by something since Olaf.
Yeah, this is kind of like your new Olaf nowadays, to be honest. As might have a fight break out here. See, Jin Air is trying to kite them down and doing a pretty good job of it so far, so no fight coming in here. Bit of poking onto Joker, but shouldn't matter all too much as SANDBOX are gearing up now for this Mountain Drake. Summit attempting to come in from the top side here. Knocking Root back, immediate cleanse out of Kellin. There's a bunch of damage though as Kellin might be picked off here. One more auto would do it. It's okay, we're doing more than an auto as Summit wants to get on top of them in the back line. OnFleek gonna get super low, and actually CheonGo and TaNa able to take him out here. Good stopwatch timing, and he's gonna flash away to safety, but one more auto does it from Ghost, and a couple more to take out the Neeko. And this Draven is gigantic in this game.
And the Infernal Dragon's really coming in big in these
Root
fights. Oh, Root has to be really careful. Ghost is going to go all the way back to full HP. Okay, that's unbreakable.
Yeah.
And now they're going to be able to get the Mountain Dragon. And with the Mountain, they can just have Draven and OnFleek 2-match the Baron. It should not be that difficult.
Yeah. See that Draven right now, 335 AD in this game at 25 minutes. That plus the Mountain to just nuke down. Okay, we're getting a second Mountain.
Oh, this feels nice. All right, that was a really good cleanse by Kellin, but the Thomas Kench was not long for this world as Summit flashes forward, slicing Maelstrom, and you can see that TaNa and CheonGo, they tried to do everything that they could. They actually end up picking up OnFleek. It does come at the expense of an Ignite. They won't have that available next time. Also, Stopwatch expended by CheonGo. Lots of summoners, and it's important to note that Jin Air, they have a much heavier reliance on their summoner spells than SANDBOX does, mostly due to how far ahead SANDBOX is. And last team fight, Renekton, he tried to do a bit. Tahm, he's struggling.
Yeah, I mean, Tahm was just trying to cleanse really well, but I guess he didn't have his flash, or maybe he was stunned down for the majority of the end of his health bar. As the kiting was good up until the Tahm died, and then Summit was just able to fully commit. And this is the League of Draven right now. This game has turned into that with 3 Infernal Drakes and 3 items now on the 3-0 and 3 Draven.
The thing that's a little bit surprising right here is that there's no reason to play ping pong with the side lanes. They can... What?
I mean, they're all slowed up here as Kellin once again trying to help him out, but Malrang and the gang are going to take an insane amount of damage.
Oh, they got the Guardian Angel.
There you go. Dove. Not able to do much
Summit?
there. No,
Having to Protobelt away.
Just frozen up there for a bit of time, but they get the jungler and they get the 2 kills, and SANDBOX immediately going to turn on to Baron.
Yeah, and they definitely have the damage to do this. Joker gonna cast the Unbreakable.
Let's see
And
how
teleport.
aggressive. Okay. Pretty defensive here. Wants to get into the pit and just defend Will Dove.
Bitter Blossom's available on Neeko.
Yeah,
Oh,
the poking
man.
is coming in. The spike comes down from the Braum. Joker with the unsealed spellbook. OnFleek a little bit too far in the front. Here comes Root trying to poke him down. Dove is going to flash over, and here's Draven in the front line. As they are not looking for the fight, that is going to sail wide as SANDBOX are trying to get out of there, and Jin Air not able to keep him around.
All right, well, Jin Air, they get themselves a little bit of breathing room. They're also going to be able to indirectly attack Baron by removing all the minions from the map. They don't actually attempt to do any turret damage. Instead, they're going to run back. Elise is going to start farming her right-hand side jungle. We'll take a look at how this all transpires. So, OnFleek trying out for the New England Patriots. As he whiffed right there, didn't quite matter. As Dove able to be right there, but OnFleek a little bit angry, yeah. Body blocking him. Didn't want to be outdone. Now this is where it was really surprising. You can see that it seems like everyone's actually just on a different page. Now, they don't all want to go into the Baron pit because of the Bitter Blossom on Neeko, but they get locked up right there. This is the really surprising part where they can surrender Dove and Ghost will kill them all.
Yeah, I mean, CheonGo just did not seem willing to go in, and SANDBOX to say, well, okay, I mean, the Renekton looks a little bit scary. So maybe they were just a little bit scared about that. Now SANDBOX with the Baron. The majority of their members looking for the kill. Not sure about Root there in the front line. Probably thought he was going to get devoured, but here we go. The rocks are going to start toppling here, as SANDBOX are going to take out the majority of the members of Jin Air and push on for the win.
And that's going to definitely be game number one. There's no way TaNa should be able to resist this. He does have his ultimate available, but okay.
Oh boy, come on, stop the bully. Let the poor Neeko live, as that did not seem on the agenda here for SANDBOX in game one. They get 3 Infernals, a Mountain, and a chance at a second one. They take out Jin Air. They totally outplayed them at every step of the way in game number one. That game was not close.
Yeah, that game was absolutely not close. As SANDBOX, they come out with a decimating game number one. And that's what happens when you draft that way and don't manage to achieve anything in the early stages of the game. Jin Air, they're going to have to go backstage and think about, well, what am I going to end up doing next? Coach looks like he's talking to Malrang. Play
Yeah,
greatness, Ghost, menacing. Oh.
After game one, I wouldn't be surprised to see
Wait, Piglet doesn't play
C's
on
come in.
SANDBOX.
Piglet isn't SANDBOX. I wonder who that would be. Not 100% sure. Didn't get to look at that. I was looking at maybe if C's would come in for the next game.
All the players grouping up and talking about that game. And if you're Jin Air, I don't really know what you think after that. You don't just blame RNG on the Dragons. That was not the only issue.
It was not the Drake's fault. Can't blame it on them. SANDBOX fans are going to be pretty happy with the way that game went. You can see that Jin Air is still deep in thought about what went wrong in that game. Malrang trying his best, but as you mentioned, kind of playing like solo queue, and I think that his style is just totally red across the board in the LCK. I feel like teams just know exactly what to do whenever they are up against Malrang as a jungler, and SANDBOX read him perfectly in this game.
Yeah, there was realistically nothing they could do in the early game. The jungle gap was so big, as well as the lane assignments. The way that SANDBOX was so willing to just send Summit and Dove into rotating lane states endlessly really put a damper on Jin Air's early plans.
You can see that that sign said, today, SANDBOX is Lucky Sevens. And they were exactly Lucky Sevens with the Drakes, but it was pure skill when it came down to the game victory in the end. Ghost got to play his Draven once again, so I'm sure he's happy about that. Maybe we'll see even some more random picks in game number 2, as it was not a perfect game. Actually, Jin Air was able to pick up 3 kills throughout the course of that one. Root did a ton of damage, but he wasn't able to carry the rest of the team.
A lot of 6s on the side of Jin Air. Mark of the Beast.
Getting kind of creeped out here, Les.
Are you?
What do I do?
Well, I'm not sure, actually.
You were right, though. I mean,
your flight's delayed now.
Yeah.
Jin Air's not getting off the ground.
Yeah,
today.
they were grounded for now. Gonna have to stay on the runway. We're having some delays, although maybe that break between games or series 1 and 2 might be just cleared for takeoff. As man, that game 1 was really one-sided. Not sure what else to say about that one, LS. We are gonna take a quick break. When we do come back, SANDBOX versus Jin Air, game number 2.
치울게 그냥 이거 나 봐줘.
봐줄게. 치워.
가자 가자. 들어가.
이거 치고 안 되는데.
이거 누가 재현이 형 MVP네. 노부 선수 오셨네 이거.
네?
노부 선수 진짜 왔네.
네.
재현이 형 어디 갔어?
나.
야, 니코 오면 풀고.
형 한번 죽어주면 안 돼?
오케이.
재현이가 노랬냐? 웬일이야? 재현아, 너도 노랬다 한 날이 있네.
네,
나 이랬어 했어.
나도 일레스 해버렸어. 마지막에.
그거 1대 어때? 리신 1대1.
오케이.
나 리신 1대1 여태까지 져본 적이 없어.
일단 형이랑 리신 세워봐. 뭔 소리야?
와, 이 사람 파가 날카로운데?
보세요.
와, 이 근거리에서 피하겠다고? 너 너무 건방져. 어우.
건방지면 어떡할 거야?
당연히 그 선마지 막 W 흑자 선마 이런 거 아니지?
당연히 안 하지 그건. 나쁘지 않네 이 사람. 뭐야? 뭐야? 이게 평타가 나가네. 버그 쓰냐?
이게 리신이지 이게.
일단 하영이 리신 좀 못한다 말했잖아.
너 더 들어가 그럼.
오케이 지배 집행자에 저만 좀 뗄게.
큐 선마야 무조건.
오케이 나는 형 따라서 기본 스킨 뗄게. 스킨 타령까지도 막을게 내가. 에휴. 맞췄죠? 하나는 맞으세요.
쫄아서 튀는 거 봐.
할게요.
포지션 잡을게 그럼. 이걸 안 날라오네?
한번 봐주는 거지.
이 사람 라인을 안 해봐서 라인 관리 안 하네 이거.
1대1에서 CS 중요하지 않죠?
중요할 수도 있죠.
2레벨에 딱 봐도 2 찍은 거 보이죠?
어느 이거 남았고.
이거 이게 왜 타워가
프라우드 W 썼죠? 이득이죠?
이득은 아니죠.
플래시 빼죠? 아 뭐야 나 패스 안
수고하세요.
나왔어. 엉키지 마라 진짜.
전용 진짜 중요해 이거 이 판 이기려면.
파이팅. 파이팅. 예.
이거 자리를 먼저 먹고 있어야 될 것 같아. 탑가는 애매했다.
1 빼주마.
오케이.
뭐야?
야 먹었어 얘들아.
나이스.
뭐야.
오케이 잘했어.
스턴 해놨어.
나이스.
끝났다 나이스.
야야 또 나와.
오케이 끝났어.
아, 미안하다 내가 그냥.
나 잘했어 괜찮아.
와 이거 또 나.
뭐야? 태우비 형 MVP야.
MVP지. 잘했어.
에반데?
진짜 잘했어.
훌륭.
이거 약간 신이 도왔어 이거 우리.
뭔 소리야 내 손으로 내가 만든 거야.
그거 인정. 바텀 맞아.
오케이 맞을게. 햄버거
뭐야, 이거?
해야 돼.
끝났다 나이스 끝났어 이거만 집중 끝났어 얘들아 나이스.
끝났어 이거.
나 바텀 그냥 11을 박아줄게.
칭찬 좀 매니저 어땠어?
너무 잘했다.
11을 너프리를 해. 나
재엽이 형 너무 잘했어.
알겠어.
아우.
잘했다 야나.
29세 조재욱 칭찬받고 싶어.
나 11을 공 막는다.
쟤는 고래를 춤추게 한다고 그거 몰라?
11을 죽여. 이거.
11을
예스.
마무리 나이스.
나이스.